Hi, this is a video to show you how you could run a sensory story of the story of Daniel from the Bible with your children at home. So I've got a script here that you'll have got if you're on the Promiseland Plus email, and I'm going to read it out and I'm going to show you things you could do in between the bits of the story to engage your children. So sensory activities, things with toys, you could pass around or listen to, just help them engage with the story. So when I was preparing this, I read the story of Daniel in the Jesus Storybook Bible. So if you've got that at home, you might be able to read that as well. It's called Daniel and the Scary Sleepover in here. So I've got a bag of things that we're going to use in our story, and I'm going to read the story and show you the items as we go. So our story starts. So Daniel was far away from home. He was working for a king who said that Daniel could only worship him. So thinking about kings, we could perhaps have a crown. I just made a crown out of paper. So you could just make a really simple crown, get your child to wear it to pretend to be a king. Maybe you actually have some toy crowns at home. So I found just a tiny toy crown in my house. You could also perhaps have a robe to pretend to be a king. You could get your child to wrap a blanket or something around them so it looks a bit like a king's robe. So that's how we could think about kings. But Daniel loved God and wanted to worship him. So worship is like telling someone that they're great or celebrating them or saying thank you to them. So I thought about some different ways we could do that. So we might say thank you to someone by giving them flowers. So I didn't have any real flowers, but I found some pretend flowers in my house that look quite realistic. Often we've played with flowers at Promiseland Plus for children, so we've let them like rip them, touch them, play with them, look at them. So you could, I guess, buy some flowers or have some pretend flowers and think about how a way of worshipping is maybe to give someone flowers would be a way of saying thank you or celebrating them. You could also have perhaps cards. Perhaps someone in your house has had a birthday on lockdown and you've got some cards or even some thank you cards. And you could think about how giving someone cards or presents is similar to worshipping. So things like that maybe help us think about what worship is. The king put Daniel in a cave of lions because Daniel worshipped God instead of worshipping the king. So hopefully you have perhaps some lion related toys at home. So the only lion toy I could find is actually really small. It doesn't look super scary, but maybe you've got some better, more interesting lion toys. Or you could look at some pictures of lions. So perhaps you've got a book with pictures of lions on. There's lots of videos online of lions. So you could maybe show your child a video of a lion to help them think about what a lion is like. So the king thought that the lions would eat Daniel. Lions have big teeth and they roar really loudly. So you can't see my lion's teeth, but maybe you have a picture of a lion with teeth or a toy with teeth, or you could get your child to maybe look at their teeth in the mirror or look at your teeth and think about how teeth are really sharp, and a lion might have really scary sharp teeth. And as well as having really sharp teeth, lions also roar really loudly. So maybe you can make a roaring sound, or your child can make a roaring sound, or perhaps they've got brothers or sisters who can make a roaring sound like a lion. Or you could find, perhaps on your computer, if you type animal sounds actually into Google, it gives you quite a lot of animal sounds, and one of them is lion. So hopefully you can hear this. So that's a loud lion roaring. So you could play a sound like that to your child and think about how lions are a bit scary, and the king thought that the lion was going to eat Daniel. So let's see what happens next to Daniel. So Daniel felt really scared. He was in this cave with all these lions. So to help us think about being in a cave, maybe we can put something on our heads and pretend it's really dark. So we could use something like a blanket again, and we can put it on top of us and it'll be really dark and maybe it feels a bit scary underneath. But God kept the lions' mouths shut and they didn't eat Daniel. So if you have a toy lion, perhaps you could pretend that it's sleeping, pretend that it's really tame and peaceful and it's not going to eat you, because that's what the lions were like in the cave, because God kept their mouths shut so they couldn't eat Daniel. And the king came to see Daniel in the morning, so you could have maybe our king props again. So we've got our crown, or whatever crowns you have, and perhaps your robe again. You could think about the king. So the king came to see Daniel, and Daniel told the king that God had rescued him. And the king told everybody to worship God, not the king anymore. So we could think about worship again. We could use some of our worship props. So we could have something like our flowers, like our cards maybe. We can think about how worship is celebrating someone, and now the people we're celebrating God. And if you've got any instruments, this might be a good time to use them, because another way to worship is to play music or to sing. So I just made a really simple instrument with just a plastic pot and some pasta and some rice. So you can have a little shaker like that to think about celebrating or worshipping God. And God rescued Daniel, but one day he would send Jesus on an even bigger rescue mission to rescue all of us. And there's a prayer at the end of our story. It says, "Thank you, God, that you are always with us. Help us when we feel scared. And thank you for sending Jesus to rescue us." So you could pray that with your children. And maybe you could play some songs. There's a really nice song that I'll hopefully type down here about Daniel. So you could play maybe some songs, or if you're on the Promiseland Plus email list, you'll have hopefully got sent a playlist from Spotify with some songs that the Promiseland Plus children have enjoyed listening to. So you could think about worshipping God by playing some of those songs. So some other activities you could do after your story. Perhaps you could make a den. So you could think about what it was like being in a dark, scary cave, and you could use some cushions or some blankets in your house and make a den to hide in. We can make a little den maybe with rocks or stones in your garden as well. And if you've got some lion toys, you could carry on playing with them or watch some lion videos. Or you could do some craft. Maybe you could make a lion's face. If you're on the Promiseland Plus email list, we're going to send you some things to help you make a lion's face. I hope that was useful and gave you some ideas of perhaps how you could share the story of Daniel and the lion's den with your children at home. We really miss you at Promiseland Plus, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again. Do email us if you have any prayer requests, or if you want to let us know how you're getting on. And if you have any ideas of stories, either from the Jesus Storybook Bible or just from the Bible in general, that you think you'd like some ideas for how to share with your child, then do let us know on the Promiseland Plus address. We'd love to think of some ideas to share lots of different stories with your children. We're looking forward to seeing you again. Bye.